comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we got a decent selection of Funko Pop announcements. Unfortunately, though, this week's podcast will not include what is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive reveals that are currently happening as we are recording this. More specifically, the day we are recording this, it is day 2 reveals where there have been some Funko Soda announcements announced so far as we are recording this. But before we talk about these non-Comic-Con announcements that range from June 8th to June 13th, I do want to kick off with some special news as terms to the podcast, which does relate to why we are not talking about the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives this week. So first off, for those that have kept up with the podcast, next week actually will be our fandom-related podcast on Harry Potter, which there is some groundbreaking history that we are making with this podcast. First off, I guess I should mention that this will be the first fandom-related podcast that does not feature MD Shady, which is going to be a little bit weird. MD Shady will be replaced by Robbie D. But where I'm getting at here is that this Harry Potter podcast, after we had already recorded it last week, we have decided that for the first time in a Funko Popcast history, it will be a fandom-related podcast that is divided into 2 episodes. So it's going to be 2 separate episodes that will be released back-to-back during the same week next week. So originally, it's set for Friday, the 24th of June, I believe. But because it's a 2-part podcast, it will be part 1 on, I believe, Thursday, the 23rd, and part 2 on Friday, the 24th. So that will make up for episode 148 and 149 of a Funko Popcast. But then the following week, which will be a jam-packed podcast for many reasons. First off, we will talk about all, I would assume, 3 days of San Diego Comic-Con reveals, along with the top 10 Funko Pops of June 2022. It so happens that it will be released on Canada Day of all days, Friday, July 1st. And because we are doing a 2-part episode next week, releasing back-to-back, that would make this podcast our special 150th edition of a Funko Popcast. So it will be a jam-packed podcast to celebrate the 150th episode of a Funko Popcast, talking about SDCC reveals and the top 10 Funko Pops of June 2022. So going to be crazy. Obviously, MD will be back for that episode. Don't worry, guys. Without further ado, we might as well kick off with the Funko Pop announcements. The first set that we'll discuss about, which range from June 8th up until June 9th. So 2 days long, but a lot of announcements here. Kicking off June 8th, Funko had announced a pop of Sabine Wren from Star Wars, which will be a part of the new Power of the Galaxy lineup exclusive to Amazon. And this is expected to release as early as October 2022. Next, Funko had also announced a pop of Tala Durif from Obi-Wan Kenobi, in which this is expected to release as early as August 2022. And then Walmart had announced their own exclusive pop comic covers of Thor, which that is expected to release as early as September 2022. Then on June 9th, Funko had announced a brand new wave of WWE Funko Pops, which has pops of the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, Riddle, Randy Orton, Finn Balor, which will be exclusive to Amazon, and Rob Van Dam, which will be a part of a pop and pin bundle exclusive to GameStop. And these are expected to release as early as September 2022. On that same day, Funko had finally confirmed the pop albums of Linkin Park's Reanimation, which that's expected to release as early as August 2022. Once again, on that same day, Funko had announced the second pop involved in, I believe it's the 6-piece Disney Villains Assemble set exclusive to Hot Topic. And this Pop Deluxe is of Scar with hyenas from The Lion King, in which it actually is available now on the Hot Topic website. And last but not least, GameStop had announced their own exclusive pop of Iron Man, a part of the Midnight Suns game, in which this Funko Pop can be obtained for free if you pre-order the Legends edition or Legendary edition. I can't exactly remember, but it's some sort of edition of the Marvel Midnight Suns game when it releases on October 7th, 2022. Kicking off with Sabine Wren from the Star Wars lineup, more specifically, actually, Star Wars Rebels. And I do enjoy this pop a lot. We've already gotten a couple of versions of Sabine where it was a masked version, I believe an unmasked version also, but bringing on some more Star Wars Rebels pops is pretty decent, actually. And I didn't realize that the Power of the Galaxy lineup seemed like that it was going to be like an entire female lineup, which obviously I'm not hating on the females, just saying. Maybe Amazon already had a silhouette listed on their website, which will show what pops are being featured, which I have not seen yet, but maybe I'll check it out later to maybe think of what could be next in the lineup. But this is pretty cool. I like the detail of using her jetpack, I guess, and then you have the smoky base. I think it's a really cool addition for this Funko Pop to make it look different compared to the other Sabine Wren pops. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to get this, and I know that there has been hype as terms to this pop. Then we got ourselves Tala Durth from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this is okay. I mean, it's a very simplistic pop because it's just her standing there with the arms to the side, or not the arms to the side, but arms behind her. I mean, they couldn't do really much anyways because she doesn't do entirely that much. Like, she doesn't obviously hold a lightsaber, or she might have held a blaster. I can't exactly remember for some reason, even though I just watched the recent episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi that just came out today before recording this podcast. But this is okay. Not one of my favorites, but still a cool addition to the Obi-Wan Kenobi lineup. Then we got ourselves the Thor pop comic covers, and this is pretty decent. I mean, we already had one that just got announced a few months ago, I believe. That's a specialty series exclusive, but now we have this one, which I can't exactly tell what this would be called because it kind of looks like it gives off a black light effect because of the way the outfit is, but obviously the skin tone and the hair doesn't fit the exact template of what a black light pop is. So I don't think it's a black light pop, but maybe more of a cartoony effect, I guess, would be, or not cartoony, but comic book effect would be the perfect way to put it. And this is pretty decent. I kind of like this design better than the other Thor pop comic covers, especially because I believe the one that we had originally talked about has it where he is spinning the Jolnir and it makes that weird circle that didn't really translate well into pop form. But overall, I think this will be a pretty decent seller and one of the better pop comic covers for Marvel, in my opinion. Then we got ourselves a brand new wave of WWE Funko Pops, which this is really cool to see. Obviously, as a wrestler myself, I'm always excited to see new WWE Funko Pops being announced. And the common pops, we got the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, which I feel like has been a long time coming. Dusty Rhodes should have been made a long time ago. Love the outfit as terms to the yellow with black polka dot shirt. And then obviously the black trunks and knee pads with the yellow polka dots on there, the yellow boots. And I think they did basically an excellent job on this pop. We got Riddle and Randy Orton, also known as RK Bro. And these are pretty decent. I mean, the Randy Orton, I think it's a little bit better than the original Randy Orton, but I mean, I felt like they could have done something a little bit better. And I'm honestly surprised, and I might end up jinxing this, that they didn't just slap Randy Orton and Riddle into a 2-pack with like a Books a Million or Barnes and Noble sticker on it, considering that they're a tag team. So I'm really surprised about that. Maybe there's some down the line that we don't know about yet. Riddle's all right. I feel like his hair should have been a little bit darker. I know he has that like kind of dirty blonde look to his hair, but I feel like it's too blonde for the way they did the Funko Pop. Finn Balor, this is his 4th Funko Pop, I believe now, because there's 2 Demon Balors and then a regular Finn Balor. But this is pretty decent. This would be like Balor Club Finn Balor. So that's pretty cool. Amazon exclusive. And then we got RVD, which definitely makes sense that they had made this pop for a couple of reasons. First off, got inducted to the Hall of Fame last year. And second of all, recently announced there was the Paul Heyman pop. So if you already are getting the Paul Heyman pop, you can get the RVD pop, and they kind of go side by side because of them being synonymous with ECW. So I really enjoy that. But I also have that same problem that I have with Riddle, where I feel like the dirty blonde hair is a little bit too blonde for the way that the Funko Pop looks. But it's cool that it comes with the WrestleMania 22 pin, though, I guess. Then we got ourselves the Reanimation pop albums from Linkin Park, and this is a pretty cool pop album. I like the way that the pop inside of the album looks. And I didn't recognize this album at first. And then when doing more research, it's actually a remix album and it's not a like actual studio album, which I did realize in the comments section that a lot of people are hyped for the potential idea of a pop albums of Linkin Park's album Meteora, which would make sense to be released next year because next year will mark the 20th anniversary of when that album was released, which I definitely will be getting that pop album when it gets announced and released. But I don't think I'm going to get this one, though, just because it is a remix album. But it's still cool, especially if you are a hardcore Linkin Park fan. You're probably going to want to get this album. Then we got ourselves the Pop Deluxe for the Villains Assemble set. We got Scar with the Hyenas, which this is very cool. A lot of people are very hyped for this. People are already claiming that this is like the best pop involved in this set, even though we are still waiting for, I believe, the other 4 deluxe pops to be announced by Funko. But this is still really awesome. And I guess it would be better than the Hades one in a way, because even though the Hades one does have 3 figures in it, you actually get 4 figures involved with this Pop Deluxe, where you got Scar, and then you have all 3 of the hyenas. Having this in the deluxe, and they're all on like the mountaintop there, like you see in the one scene in The Lion King, is very great. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a ton of people that just get this pop alone and not even get the rest of the set. And then last but not least, we have the Midnight Suns Iron Man. And this actually looks pretty cool. I like the design of this Iron Man. Very different from a lot of designs we see with Iron Man, whether it's a classic look or whatever his look is in the MCU, which that's what's kind of the body mold looks like for this Iron Man, is kind of that MCU mold from like Avengers Endgame. But they added some different colors, and it looks really cool with the gold and the yellow eyes. And you kind of have like the black and gold suit there with what looks to be flames. I kind of can't tell because my messenger for some reason has these photos blurry at the moment, so I can't really tell the exact detail. But this is a pretty sweet Iron Man. Definitely probably one of my favorites in terms of detail.
Okay, starting off with the new Power of the Galaxy pop with Sabine, I believe her name is Sabine Red. This is a cool pop. I really enjoy how this looks. I really like the base having the like jetpack smoke and the flames. I think that it's one of the better ones that we've seen. I've found that sometimes they just don't look great, but judging by this glam shot, it definitely looks pretty cool. And all the colors that are going on with this pop makes it look really nice. So far, the Power of the Galaxy set is pretty decent. I'm liking it. I like the theme that they're going with, assuming that they're going with just female characters. I think that's great. And yeah, this pop is awesome. And then we have the new Obi-Wan Kenobi pop with Tala. Is that her name?
Yes, her name's Tala.
Okay, yeah. This pop is okay. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on with it, but she is technically like a main character, kind of. So it makes sense that she's being added to the lineup. So far, the Obi-Wan Kenobi pops have been pretty good, but nothing completely amazing yet, I guess. Then we have the brand new Thor comic book covers, and this is pretty cool. DK summed it up pretty good when he says it kind of looks like blacklight, but they're really just going for that comic book effect, which I think turned out really good. I'm a little disappointed that they don't have the spinning effect on the Jolnir. I think that I liked how they executed it, and I think that it would have looked really cool on this, especially if they could have had it actually circling all of him. But the I guess the case for a comic book cover doesn't really have enough to fit all of that into the case. So it makes sense that they went with just the stationary Jolnir pose. And overall, I don't think it looks too bad. Then we have the brand new wave of WWE pops, and this is a pretty decent wave overall. I like the Dusty Rhodes. I think that it's a pretty good job. I kind of wish that maybe he would have had more hair, like a little bit bigger of hair, I guess you could say. And I kind of wish that he had his, like, I don't even know how you'd put it, like the cab driver type hat on. I think that that would have been a cool touch to this pop. Then you have Matt Riddle, and I do agree with DK that his hair should have been a little bit more brown. I don't think it has to be a ton more, but just a little bit would have been better. He definitely is not this blonde, but overall, I like the way that they've done the body. He's got the sandals on, which is pretty cool. And then Randy Orton, I do think that this is a pretty good Randy Orton. The first Randy Orton I thought was kind of weird, so this one's decent. And yeah, overall, I think it looks good. And then moving on to the exclusives, we have the Amazon exclusive Finn Balor. This is decent. I'm kind of liking seeing brand new characters being added to the WWE lineup, but this Finn Balor is okay. I like the pose with the kind of like the Bullet Club hands, like DK was kind of talking about. So this is cool. And then we have the GameStop exclusive RVD, and this is awesome. I will 100% be getting this. I do agree with DK that the top of his head definitely should have been maybe the color of the sides, assuming that they're two different colors there by the glam shot, because realistically that's how his hair is when he has it shaved on the sides. This is cool though. I love the attire that they chose for this one. Obviously it makes sense with the RVD briefcase, which is awesome. And then you get a pin with it as well, and it is for WrestleMania 22, and that is my favorite WrestleMania. So yeah, this is definitely a need for MD Shady. And then we have the Pop Albums Reanimation by Linkin Park. This is sweet. I actually seen that one of Linkin Park's social media platforms posted this a few weeks back, and I was like, oh dang, this is sharp looking. I really like this. I love how it's like the Gundam, I guess, is what it looks like. And overall, I think it looks awesome. I think this is really cool. Is this going to be one of the best selling albums? Probably not, but I do think it looks good. Then we have the newest piece for the Disney villain set with Scar and the Hyenas, and this is wicked. I really enjoy this set so far with the 2 pops that we've seen. I will definitely be getting all 6 of these pops, assuming that the next 4 are not terrible. But yeah, this looks so cool with Scar and the Hyenas. I really love the green aura that kind of goes through them. And it's not just because the background of the glam shot is green and the base is green. I think that they did a good job of having the shade of the colors of the 4 pops on this look like they're kind of in that green aura type field, I guess. So this is awesome. And yeah, like DK said, I could definitely see people just buying this and skipping out on some of the other ones, though there is a pop in the set that I'm going to be very excited for when it gets announced. And then we have the Midnight Suns Iron Man, and this is pretty dang cool looking. I really like what this looks like. And it's awesome that if you buy the Legendary Edition, you can get this pop for free. Though I've had some kind of gripes with GameStop about when they do pops like this before, because, I don't even remember what pop it was. It was Happy Gilmore. For one of the releases of NHL, they did the same thing. And due to the pandemic, I believe they didn't get their shipment in of the pops. And then when they finally got the pops in, I went to GameStop and said, hey, I bought this. I was supposed to get this pop. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So I was like, okay, can I take it? And they're like, no, that was only good for a year. But they didn't even get the pop till after a year. So I didn't end up getting the pop for free, and that was a disappointment. So hopefully GameStop kind of handles it better with this one, at least our local GameStop, because this is a sweet looking pop. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a glow in the dark version maybe down the road, because this pop makes sense to be glow in the dark, obviously, with the what we assume is flames on his back and those like piercing glowing eyes. I think that this would be a sweet pop to have a glow in the dark variation of.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code of Funko Popcast for 10% off.
All right, moving on to the next set of Funko Pops, which range from June 10th to June 13th, which kicking off, we got ourselves 2 pops of Ms. Marvel from the newly released Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series. One is a common and the other is a Diamond Collection version, which will be exclusive to Hot Topic. And these are expected to release as early as August 2022. Next up, we have the next pop announced for the Hot Topic exclusive Class 1B My Hero Academia set, which this is of Ebara Shiozaki, in which this is available now online at Hot Topic and soon should be released in stores. Then Funko had announced on their website of a birthday Freddy Funko, which will be exclusive to the Funko shop, and it's unknown yet of when this pop is going to be released. Then on June 13th, the last day of these announcements, we have a brand new wave of My Hero Academia pops, which first off, we got ourselves common pops of Izuku Midoriya, Kyoka Jiru, Yuga Aoyami, Inasa Urasa, a slim form Fat Gum, and Hawks, with exclusive pops of a glow-in-the-dark Izuku Midoriya, which will be exclusive to Barnes & Noble, a Kyoka Jiro playing guitar, which will be exclusive to Books A Million, a Diamond Collection Yuga Ayama, which will be exclusive to Amazon, a 2-pack of Todoroki and Endeavor, which will be a Funimation exclusive, a Flocked Hawks, which will be exclusive to Chalice Collectibles, a Rock Lock, which will be exclusive to Walmart, a 6-inch Gigantomachia, which will be a specialty series exclusive, and last but not least, we have ourselves an 18-inch All Might, which will be exclusive to GameStop, and these are expected to release as early as August 2022. So kicking off with the Ms. Marvel pops, these are okay. I have not seen the brand new Ms. Marvel series. I think it just released last week, I believe, on Disney Plus, and now there's 2 episodes out, so I'm a couple episodes behind. However, I feel like it's going to be one of those series I don't watch right away because I'm not really entirely interested in it, if I can be completely honest. And I know for some reason, I believe that there was a picture of the back of the box already released and that there was already some pops on the back more than just these ones that probably will be announced soon. Most likely it'll be released within the next week or two, and we'll discuss it on the pod in probably 3 weeks from now, I would say, because 2 weeks would be San Diego. Next week's the Harry Potter pod. So yeah, it'll probably be 3 weeks from now that we talk about those pops, if I were to assume correctly. Obviously, kicking off with the main character of Ms. Marvel definitely makes sense. Then we got ourselves the Class 1B exclusive My Hero Academia pop, in which this is pretty decent. I actually like this better than the couple that we have already looked at already, because I feel like this one, without really doing anything, actually shows off the kind of quirk that this character uses, which I've totally forgot about this character and what this character does in terms of a quirk, but it looks like it involves her hair being in like a vine form. So I think that's really cool of how they were able to adapt it into a Funko Pop form. And I know there's a lot of people hyping about this set because of one of the silhouettes. I can't exactly remember which silhouette it was and what the name of the character was, but there were people that were hyped about a certain character that will be a part of this set that's going to be announced obviously very soon, with how rapidly My Hero Academia pops are being announced, considering we've actually gotten like singular My Hero Academia pops being announced the last few weeks already, which I don't know why they didn't just save it for a huge mega wave like we're going to talk about in a little bit, actually, instead of just announcing them individually, in my opinion. Then we got ourselves the birthday Freddy Funko, which I think this is pretty decent. I mean, Freddy Funko, he's holding the present. He's got the happy birthday balloon. He's also got the birthday hat instead of like wearing a crown, which is also pretty unique in my opinion. And I'm not sure if this is going to be one of those pops where it's like you buy it separately for the 15 US that it costs or whatever the price is, or it's going to be one of those things where it's like, all right, buy $60 worth of things on the Funko shop and then you get this pop free on like a certain day or something like that, which regardless, I think there's going to be a decent amount of people that are going to get this. Not too many, because obviously you got your casual fans and then you got your hardcore Funko fans. And last but not least, just like we mentioned, the huge abundance of My Hero Academia pops, which we did do a video on the channel this past week, which I will try to repeat some of the stuff I mentioned in the video, but add some new things to it that I did mention. So we got Izuku Midoriya, which is pretty decent. Not my favorite one, but it is like, I wouldn't say it's a bad one either. I like the lightning energy going around it. We have Kyoka Jiro, which I remember this character from watching My Hero Academia with the quirk of like the earphone jacks and then her quirk involving sound waves and stuff like that, which I really enjoyed this character. And finally, this character translated very well to its first Funko Pop ever. Yuga, which is also very cool. He's a very flamboyant character, and I like even the pose that he does in this pop because it makes him look very flamboyant, especially with the little wink there. The character on the bottom left, I can't exactly remember the name of for some reason, or can't remember exactly where this character was in My Hero Academia, but the detail of this character looks cool. The slim version of Fat Gum is really cool. When I heard about Fat Gum, I was very afraid that it was just going to be something similar to the FunCon exclusive that we had discussed about essentially last year, I guess you could say, because it was released last year for FunCon, but it's a different form. It's a slim form, which I think it's very cool because it's a different fat gum. It's not going to take away from that FunCon exclusive fat gum, and the fact that I feel like that FunCon exclusive regular fat gum is actually going to rise up in price because of how different this pop is and how people are going to want to get this one and the FunCon exclusive in the near future. I like the detail involved, really awesome. And then we got Hawks, which is really cool that this character is finally made into pop form. I remember this character in season 4, I believe, of My Hero Academia. I like the way they did the wingspan for the molding. I think it's pretty cool. Moving on to the exclusive pops, we got ourselves first the glow in the dark Izuku Midori, which I think is okay. It makes sense for the energy, but I don't know about the hair because, I mean, if it was strands of hair that were glow because of the reflection of the energy, I think it would have been a little bit better. But making it the entire head as terms to glow in the dark and making it green, I mean, green's a good color, glow in the dark, but just in the sake of how this pop is being executed, I don't think it makes sense for the entire hair to be glow in the dark, in my opinion. Kyokajiru playing the guitar, which is really awesome. This might have to be one of, if not my favorite pop of this entire set, because I remember the episode involving her playing the guitar. And I believe also a pop that I mentioned on our My Hero Academia podcast that I want to see, which is Tokoyami playing the guitar, is also involved in this very scene because I know they form a band at some point and there's a couple other people on different instruments playing music in one of the episodes. So if they eventually make the rest of the band members per se, including Tokoyami, that'd be really awesome. And I might have to pick up the Tokoyami if it ends up being a Funko Pop in the near future. We got the Diamond Collection Yuga, which I think it totally makes sense because of the different outfits that Yuga wears throughout the entire series of My Hero Academia and the sparkly attires that he wears. And essentially his outfit here with already, if you look at the common pop, the cape kind of looks like it's already supposed to be glittered. So the fact that they added glitter on the cape and of course the attire definitely makes sense. I don't know how I feel about the hair being glitter and especially the glasses that Yuga is wearing being glitter, but I'm totally fine with the outfit being glitter, though. Makes sense, though. The Endeavor and Todoroki 2-pack exclusive to Funimation, and this is a little meh, and it's not because I hate these characters. Todoroki is actually my favorite character in the entire My Hero Academia series. It's just the fact that you are slapping 2 already existing common pops into a 2-pack, which I don't know how many people are actually going to want to get this, especially if you are one of those people that are trying to get a complete set of My Hero Academia pops and you're feeling forced to get a 2-pack of pops that they already made as commons, especially if you already own the ones that are like a glow in the dark or a metallic variant of either one of these characters that were already exclusives to a different retailer. It's just kind of weird to get basically the same pops again, except this time you're getting a Funimation sticker, which you probably have in your collection if you have all the My Hero Academia pops, because they've already done a bunch of Funimation exclusives for My Hero Academia. We got the Flocked Hawks, which I think is really cool for 2 reasons. Obviously, first off, Flocked is cool. And the fact that because the quirk of Hawks is obviously being a hawk or a bird, so obviously the wings being flocked is awesome. And the fact that it's a completely different mold compared to the common version. So it's 2 different versions of Hawks that essentially you would enjoy getting into your collection. Rocklock, which I actually totally forgot about this character. I didn't even really remember this character at all until I had to do a little bit of research. And funny thing is that if you look on the Funko app and on, I believe, Walmart's website where this is exclusive to, they actually screwed up the glam shot as terms of the box and actually called the pop Lock instead of Rocklock, which is pretty funny. It's kind of that same scenario of, what is it, the 21 Pilots 2-pack, where it's part of the Pop Rocks lineup, but the box is animation, and they actually ended up keeping the box that way where it does say Pop Animation. So hopefully when that pop releases, they fix that and that it doesn't say Lock, because that will probably be one of the biggest fails of the year as terms to Funko in 2022. The 6-inch Gigantomachia, which is pretty decent. I like the idea that they made it a 6-inch because it is such a big character, but I think it would have been better if this was a 10-inch pop because of how massive the character is in the series. It's a much larger character than Fat Gum, and Fat Gum was already made into a 6-inch pop, so it would have been better if this pop was a 10-inch, but I'm glad that they didn't make this a 4-inch because that's what I thought about this originally, and I was going to kind of crap on this pop during the My Hero Academia video because of the fact that it would have been a 4-inch pop, but it's a 6-inch pop. So at least they focused on the sizing of the pop and made it bigger than 4 inches for this pop. The detail's great on this pop, I should say also. And last but not least, for this set of pops, we got ourselves an 18-inch All Might, which is pretty crazy now that they're making an 18-inch. They did do a 10-inch variant a couple of years ago. There's lots of 4-inch pops. I can't remember if there's any 6-inch pops, and if there is, it's probably some sort of deluxe or movie moments or anime moments, I should say. This is pretty decent, though. I kind of want to see how this looks in person, especially with the details that already the 4-inch pop had already brought, what the 18-inch can bring because it is in a larger scale and it's easier to add some crazy details as terms to a Funko Pop. So not surprised they did with All Might. I wouldn't be surprised if the next pop they did in an 18-inch form is Deku/Izuku Midoriya.
Okay, so we got the Miss Marvel pop, and there's actually a couple different ones here. And yeah, like DK said, I'm not entirely interested in this series. I know that me and my coworker talked about it, and I decided that I'm not going to watch it quite yet. But this common pop doesn't look too bad. I like how it does have kind of a metallic-y look for the mask and a little bit of the outfit as well. Overall, it's not a bad pop, and I'm actually really surprised that there's already a diamond collection of this pop. I think that they probably could have waited until, like DK said, how there's going to be more pops for this lineup. Then we have the Hot Topic exclusive Class 1B My Hero Academia pop. I don't know about this one. I think there's something weird with the like vine hair, how it's kind of one flat color. To me, it looks like there could have been more detail put into it as towards like shading. I don't know if it's just the glam shot or if in person it'll look better, but this pop doesn't look quite as good as I think it could look. Then we have the Happy Birthday Freddy Funko, and this is pretty cool. This is one of those Freddys that I guess anyone could collect. Sometimes Freddy Funkos obviously are Freddy Funko as like a character, so you might not be too interested in it, but this is kind of just a Funko product. And overall, I think it's pretty cool. I do like how he has the birthday hat on rather than the crown. I think that that's a nice little touch. Overall, this is a pretty solid pop. And then lastly, we have a ton of My Hero Academia pops, and I'm not going to go into them too much in detail, but I do want to say that right now, My Hero Academia might have the best, like, full lineup of pops. They're always just like doing such a great job, and the detail on a lot of these look really good. And so do the rest of the My Hero Academia pops, even the older ones, those even looked good. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I wish that maybe I would have got into collecting My Hero Academia pops a little bit sooner. Consider, well, I guess I don't have any besides a couple of the sodas, but yeah, these look cool. The slim version of Fat Gum is pretty interesting. I like that. That's pretty cool. The Amazon exclusive diamond collection, I forget what his name is, but I do want to mention that it is a cool looking pop, and I think that it makes sense to be diamond collection. One of the better diamond collection pops we've seen for a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we have the Funimation 2-pack. And like DK said, this is just two pops that we've already seen put into a 2-pack together. I think it would have been decent if they would have been glow in the dark. It definitely does make sense that they're in a 2-pack together. But yeah, if you already have these pops, why bother getting the 2-pack? The Flocked Hawks is pretty cool. Obviously, DK summed it up pretty well. The feathers make sense to be flocked, and it is a completely different mold, which is awesome. So you're not stuck just not getting the common one because it's not flocked. And then I guess the last pop I'll talk about is the 18-inch All Might. And this is pretty awesome. I'm not surprised about this. It makes sense for All Might to get an 18-inch variation because I feel like it'll sell pretty well. And Funko knows that, obviously, if you look back at some of the other 18-inch pops, they use some very main characters, obviously, like Pikachu or Harry Potter, stuff like that. So this makes sense. And I definitely like it. I would like to see one in person, but I probably wouldn't own this pop.
Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this week's edition of a Funko Popcast. If you enjoyed this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, make sure you smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below and let us know your favorite pops that were discussed about on this podcast. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. And if you guys haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, and we hope to see you guys next week for the 2-part podcast of our fandom-related podcast, more specifically titled You're a Wizard, the Harry Potter Podcast. 1, 2, 3. I'm out of here.
Bro. Peace in, peace out.